Let us understand how to identify each tense and when and how they are used. Let's start with the first one, simple past tense. Indefinite tense must have a subject, a verb and an object. Object is optional, it is not always necessary, but a sentence will be incomplete without subject and verb. So in an indefinite tense, there is a subject and there is a verb and there is an object which is optional. Now, this sentence is indefinite or simple sentence. Why? Because of the fact that it has only one verb. So the verb may be auxiliary or it may be the main verb, but if there is only one verb in the sentence, that means the sentence is indefinite. And now, what kind of indefinite sentence it is? In order to find it out, we look at the verb. Now, this verb is in past tense, right? So the present form of wrote is write, then wrote, and then third form is written. So this verb is in past tense, which simply means that it is past indefinite tense. This sentence is indefinite due to the fact that there is only one verb, that is wrote. So this one verb makes it indefinite. And if you look at the verb again, the verb is in past tense. So what happened? Past indefinite tense. Let's take another example. Let's say she was very sad this morning. Okay, now look at this sentence. If you look at this sentence, subject is she and was is the verb, and very sad this morning is not the object. In this sentence, there is no object. So this is some other word. It is not the object of the sentence. So I did not write towards the object column. So if you look at this sentence again, you see one subject and there is only one verb, was. Very sad this morning is something else. So one subject, one verb. That means it is an indefinite sentence, indefinite tense. But what kind of indefinite? In order to figure it out, in order to find it out, we look at the verb. Now verb is was. Verb is in past tense. So this verb makes us clear that this sentence is in past form. So combining everything together, summing up everything together, past indefinite tense. Let's take another example. Did Tony laugh? It's a question. Did Tony laugh? Now, this is neither the subject nor the verb in this sentence. It is simply asking a question. And Tony is the subject. And what did Tony do? He laughed. So laugh is the verb. So in this sentence, we see subject and a verb only, and we do not have any object. Object is nil. Still then, the sentence is complete. Tony laughed, or did Tony laugh? So if you look at this sentence, it is very clear that the sentence is indefinite. Why? Due to the fact that it has only one verb and one subject. Now what kind of tense, what kind of indefinite tense it is? In order to find it out, you have to go to this word which is asking a question. So this is did. So did is the past form of do. So it is clear that the sentence is past indefinite tense. I hope this is clear to you. Now, when do we use simple past tense or past indefinite tense? Past indefinite tense is used to talk about actions that happened in the past and finished in the past. For example, the doctor examined the patient. The doctor is the subject Examined is the verb. There is only one verb. That is the reason why it is indefinite, and it is in past tense, so past indefinite tense. And the patient is the object of the sentence. So if you look at this sentence, what does it tell us? What does it tell us about? It says that the doctor examined the patient. That means the task of examining the patient is already over. The doctor examined the patient in the past, and the task of examining the patient is already over. So we use past indefinite tense to talk about actions that took place in the past and finished in the past. That's all. Now let us talk about present indefinite tense. If you have understood the concept of past indefinite tense, then understanding the concept of present indefinite tense is not at all difficult, because it is all the same. Only difference is with the verbs. That's all. A present indefinite tense also has a subject, verb, and an object. Object is entirely optional. The sentence can still be complete without the use of object, but a sentence must have subject and a verb. Verb may be the main verb or it may be an auxiliary verb. There should be one subject, there should be one verb in present tense, and an object which is optional. Let's take an example. He goes to office at 10 a.m. Now look at this sentence. He is the subject because he is the doer of the sentence. And what does he do? He goes. Goes is the verb. It's a doing word. And where does he go? He goes to office. So office is the object of the sentence where he goes. So he goes to office at 10 a.m. is the extra information given in the sentence. And it is very easy to understand. This sentence is indefinite. Why? Because it has only one verb. What kind of indefinite tense it is? In order to find it out, we have to look at the verb, the tense of the verb. In which tense it is? It is in present tense. So summing up all together, it becomes present indefinite tense. Let's take another example. She always comes late. Now, in this sentence, she is the subject, comes is the verb because it is a doing word. She, what does she do? She comes. So comes is a doing word, it's a verb, and there is only one verb. And what does she do? She comes late. So there is no object in the sentence. Late is the extra information presented in the sentence. So you see that the sentence is still complete even without the use of objects. Now, when do we use present indefinite tense? Let's discover that. We use simple present tense or present indefinite tense to express ideas that happen on regular basis. There are two things to note. We use simple present tense or present indefinite tense to talk about habitual actions. That means those things, those actions that happen on a regular basis or a daily basis. For example, he goes to office at 10 a.m. It is a habitual action. Everybody goes to office at 10 a.m. and just like everybody, he also goes to office at 10 a.m. This is a habitual action, the thing that happens on a daily basis, the action that happens on a daily basis. Look at the second example. She always comes late. This is also a habit that she has. So we use present indefinite tense to describe an action that happens on a regular basis. Point one. And what is point two? Point two is we use simple present tense or present indefinite tense to talk about universal truth. For example, 2 and 2 makes 4. This is a universal truth. Wherever you go, 2 and 2 will always make 4. So this is a universal truth. Let's take another example. Water freezes at 0 degree Celsius. So this is also a universal truth. Water freezes at 0 degree Celsius. In this sentence, water is the subject, freezes is the verb. What happens to water? It freezes. So it's a verb, and what is the object? There is no object. At 0 degrees Celsius is the extra information given in the sentence. So one subject, one verb. That means indefinite tense. What kind of indefinite tense? Since freezes, the verb is in present tense, it is a present indefinite tense. So remember, we use present indefinite tense to talk about actions that happen on a daily basis in a habitual manner, and to talk about the universal truths. All right, now let's talk about future indefinite tense. What is future indefinite tense? How and when they are used? Let's talk about that. So just like present indefinite tense, future indefinite tense also has a subject, but there is an exception. Since we are talking about the future time, the time yet to happen, we use shall or will with the subject, and then after that comes verb, and then comes object. For example, she will see me tomorrow. Look at this sentence. She will see me tomorrow. In this sentence, she is the subject, will represents future tense, and see is the main verb. See is the main verb, and whom is she going to see? Me. Me is the object of the sentence, and tomorrow represents future time. It is the extra information given in the sentence. So in this sentence also we have one subject, will is necessary. This is a bit different from present indefinite and past indefinite, because in present and past indefinite tense we did not use auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, but here in this case, in case of future indefinite tense, we have to use auxiliary verbs as well, because without the use of will and shall we cannot represent the future time. So in order to refer to the future time, we use shall or will, and with this we have a main verb see, and me is the object of the sentence. So in this sentence we have one subject, will and shall is necessary, it is a part of the rule. So we have one verb and one object, one subject, one verb, one object. So this is also an example of indefinite tense. But what kind of indefinite tense? In order to figure it out, always look at the verb, and here we look at the auxiliary verb will. So will represents future time, so we say it is a future indefinite tense. Now let us talk about how and when and how future indefinite tense is used. Before we talk about when and how a future indefinite tense is used, let's take one more example. I shall clean the house. Okay, let's look at this sentence as well. I is the subject of the sentence, it is the subject. Shall is a part of the rule, and then clean is the main verb. And what shall I do? I shall clean the house. The house is the object of the sentence. So in this sentence also we have one subject, and shall will is already there, and one verb, and then one object. So it is an indefinite tense. What kind of indefinite tense? Look at the verb. Always look at the verb. Shall and will, that means future tense. So future indefinite tense. If you have to change this sentence into question, it would be like this. Shall I clean the house? This is a question. but it does not mean that it changes the tense of the sentence. It is still future indefinite tense. Shall is a part of the rule, represents future tense. I is the subject, clean is the verb, and the house is the object. Subject, verb, and object. One subject, one verb, one object. That means indefinite tense. What kind of indefinite tense? Shall is there. That means future indefinite tense. Now let's talk about when is future indefinite tense used. Future indefinite tense is used to express an action or situation that will happen in future. For example, shall I clean the house, or I shall clean the house. Let's look at this example. I shall clean the house. That means you are not cleaning the house right now. You haven't already cleaned the house right now, but you are going to clean the house in future time. I shall in future time clean the house. She will see me tomorrow. Tomorrow hasn't come yet. You are talking about a future time. So she will see me tomorrow is a future indefinite tense. The action that you are going to do in future time, the action she is going to do in future time. So we use future indefinite tense to talk about an action or situation that will happen in future time.